Identifying different cyber attacks. Welcome to the Identifying Different Cyber Attacks practice lab. In this module, you will be provided with the instructions and devices needed to develop your hands-on skills. Learning outcomes. In this module, you will complete the following exercises. Exercise 1, Malware. Exercise 2, Creating Standalone Payloads with MSF Venom. Exercise 3, Performing Online Password Attacks. Exercise 4, Performing Offline Password Attacks. Exercise 5, Explaining Physical and Other Attacks. After completing this module, you should be able to create a fork bomb as a simple virus, switch off the Windows firewall, turn off the Windows Defender real-time protection, create a payload, share the payload with the victim, use the multi or handler module and exploit the system, create a user account in FTP, use word list, use Hydra to guess usernames and passwords, crack Linux password using John the Ripper, use encrack in Kali Linux, generate rainbow tables, recover Windows hashes using Chain and Abel. After completing this module, you should have further knowledge of types of malware, spraying, plain text or encrypted, malicious universal serial bus, USB cable, malicious flash drive, card cloning or skimming, adversarial artificial intelligence AI, supply chain attack, cloud-based versus on-premise attacks, cryptographic attacks. Exam objectives. The following exam objectives are covered in this lab. Given a scenario, analyze potential indicators to determine the types of attacks. Malware, password attacks, physical attacks, adversarial artificial intelligence, AI, supply chain attacks, cloud-based versus on-premises attacks, cryptographic attacks. Lab duration. It will take approximately 1 hour to complete this lab. Lab assessment. Test your knowledge on the topics covered in this lab by completing the lab assessment. Screenshot assessment items can be found at the end of each exercises and review questions are located on the review page. Lab topology. During your session, you will have access to the following lab configuration. Depending on the exercises, you may or may not use all of the devices, but they are shown here in the layout to get an overall understanding of the topology of the lab. PLAB DC1, PLAB DM1, PLAB Win10, PLAB Kali. Exercise 1, Malware. Malware is a type of software that is designed to perform malicious activities. These activities can cause damage to the computer system or network. Malware is further divided into a number of categories based on the activities they perform. In this exercise, you will learn about malware and various types of malware. You will also create a fork bomb. Learning outcome. After completing this exercise, you should be able to create a fork bomb as a simple virus. After completing this exercise, you should have further knowledge of types of malware. Your device. You will be using the following devices in this lab. Please power this on now. PLAB DC1, PLAB Win 10, PLAB Kali. Types of malware. Malware is a category of malicious software, and there are various different types such as virus, worm, Trojan, keylogger, spyware, backdoor, ransomware. Different types of malware have different characteristics. For example, a Trojan is a malware that is hidden inside regular software. Malware can spread and infect in various ways. Some of the common methods are free application or software, such as software cracks or pirated software. Free file sharing services such as torrent or peer-to-peer or peer-to-peer, removable media, an email that contains a malicious attachment. Some of the key types of malware are ransomware. Ransomware is a type of malware that holds the user for ransom. The software does not cause any damage to the computer system or the network. Instead, it targets the data by blocking the user's access of encrypting it. The attacker demands a ransom, usually money, from the user to decrypt or release the data. The data can only be decrypted if the user has the decryption key, but there is no guarantee that the attacker will actually provide the decryption key after receiving the ransom. Trojan. Trojan is a malware that provides unauthorized access to the victim's machine by posing as regular software. Often, the Trojan is an attachment sent over email. As an email receiver executes the attachment, it establishes a connection back to the attacker's system. The attacker can then escalate privilege to perform administrative activities and lateral movements. Worm. A worm can be delivered by an email or through other systems on a network. For example, if a user receives an email with an attached file that is actually a worm, opening the attachment will cause the worm to activate. Once triggered, a worm replicates itself from one system to the other systems on the network. Eventually, it attempts to infect all systems on the network. The spread of a worm can cause network performance issues. Botnet. A botnet is a network of bots, which are computer system and network devices connected over a network. This entire botnet is controlled by an attacker known as bot herder. These botnets can operate over architectures, client servers, as well as peer-to-peer. The botnets are used for carrying out various types of attacks, such as a distributed denial of service attacks, data thief, and spamming. Logic bomb. A logic bomb works on predefined conditions such as time or date. It may exist in the system but triggers only when the predefined conditions are met. For example, you can create a small script that gets executed at a specific date and time. Once it is executed, it can cause severe damage such as deleting the key partitions with the operating system and data. Cryptomalware. Cryptomalware is similar to ransomware. However, ransomware is openly used to demand money from the target. Cryptomalware, on the other hand, remain undetected. It exists on the system quietly. Cryptomalware is not used to steal data but to perform crypto mining, which is a process of solving complex problems to make cryptocurrency. It remains undetected to an extent that the user never gets to know anything about it. The security controls such as anti-malware may not be able to detect it. With the process of crypto mining, there is a certain amount of payoff to the attacker. Spyware. Spyware is designed to watch the user's behavior and activity on the system. Spyware can get into a system through an infected application, or it can be standalone spyware program, one-way application, or it can be one way it could enter a user system is through cookies. The cookies are stored on the user's machine, which are downloaded after a user visit a website and have certain privilege like accessing browser settings and storing user data. A malicious cookies could take advantage of these privileges to collect data and send the gathered data back to the attacker. A spyware quietly performs its task of stealing data, monitoring users' actions and activities, and gathering sensitive information. After it gathers various types of information from an infected system, it can relay the information to the attacker. Rootkit. Some, sens- some sensitive areas of computer software, such as an operating system, are not accessible to ordinary users. These are called root areas since they hold fundamentals and essential modules of a software system. Software designed to gain unauthorized access of this root area is known as a rootkit. Getting access to these areas allowed the intruders to perform harmful activities. For example, modifying the software structure and gaining unauthorized access to the functions can damage the system. Virus. A virus is a software program designed to cause changes in how a particular program behaves. A virus does this by making a change to the code of the target software program, which it gains access by exploiting a security vulnerability. Due to the virus, undesirable changes can take place in its behavior. Potential unwanted programs. People often mistake potential unwanted programs, PUPs, with malware. However, PUPs are not designed to perform any kind of malicious activity on a system. They are simply unwanted program. For example, when you install an application from the internet, you may notice that you have a new web browser toolbar added. This toolbar in the PUP is the PUP. Often, a PUP is bundled with the legitimate software you downloaded. They are also mentioned in the end-user agreement. However, most users do not read the agreement and rush through the installation, not realizing that they also install a PUP along the software. PUPs can impact the system performance. For example, they may run in the background and consume system resources, therefore impacting the system performance. Also, since you unknowingly installed this application, they may have exploitable vulnerabilities that are not aware of it. Fireless virus. Unlike traditional malware, a fireless virus does not depend on a file executed from a hard drive. Instead, the malware directly operates with the memory when the file is downloaded. When the file is loaded into the memory, it uses a scripting engine like Windows PowerShell to trigger the payload. However, there is no physical file being downloaded into the hard drive. The payload is executed from memory. Because there is no physical file involved, it is difficult for anti-malware or antivirus application to detect it. Also, the malware is being executed within a legitimate application like Windows PowerShell, so it is hard to stop the malicious script execution. Command and control. The behavior of the malware can be directly and controlled by the command and control server when the malware exfiltrates data. It is sent to the server, as well as directing and controlling malware. The CNC server can also control the botnet. The CNC server gives directions to attack the targets. One CNC server can control the manage thousands of bots at any given time. Keyloggers. Keyloggers are tools that log user activity by capturing keystrokes, collecting screenshots, and recording application windows opened by a user. This tool is important for user surveillance and is considered a useful tool for law enforcement when used. Malicious keyloggers can be a dangerous tool for secretly recording user system activity with the intent of harming the unsuspecting user. For example, by capturing keystrokes, the user's password can be logged. Backdoor. A backdoor is a access to an application that is created by a developer. The user of this application do not know that there is a backdoor. Generally, the developers create a backdoor to remotely administer or gain access to the application. It can also be used to give the developers access in case they forgot the administrative credentials. Backdoors can also be created by malicious application or malware. These backdoors are used by the attackers to gain access to the system without letting the user know. Task 1. Create a fork bomb as a simple virus. A fork bomb is a form of virus. When executed, it goes in an infinite loop so does not stop. Eventually, the system hangs and crashes because of the shortage of system resources. You can design the virus to reach many different objectives. For example, you can create a small virus to delete Windows operating system32 directory files. On execution, this code can damage the system and it may require extensive time and skills to fix it. The at echo of command does not show the command being executed, so allow it to run in the background. Ensure you have power on the required devices connected to PLOB Win 10. To open Task Manager from the field of Wintan desktop, right-click the taskbar and select Task Manager. The Task Manager window is displayed. Click the More Details drop-down arrow. The Task Manager windows expand the Processes tab. Select by default. Click the Performance tab. Notice that the performance of a various components such as CPU and memory is displayed on this tab. Minimize the Task Manager window. You now need to open Notepad. You need Notepad to write the various and then save the file as a batch file. In a real scenario, you could use any text editor that is available on the system. In the Type Here's the search text box on the toolbar. Type the following. The Untitled Notepad window is open. To create a new batch file in the Untitled Notepad window, type the following fork bomb code. To save the file in the toolbar, click File Save As. The Save As dialog box appears. You can save the file on the desktop. To do this, select Desktop in the left pane. To provide the file name, in the file name text box, type the following. From the Save As, type the Type drop-down. Select All File. If you do not choose All File, the file will be saved with default text extension. With the select of all file, you can provide any other extension with this file name. Click Save. Close the ForkBomb notepad window. Notice that ForkBomb.bat file is created on the desktop. You need to restore Task Manager. Now click Task Manager in the taskbar. Before you execute the ForkBomb.batch file, observe the CPU usage in Task Manager. In the Task Manager window under the Performance tab, observe the CPU activity in the left pane. The CPU utilizing is quietly low. Reduce the size of the Task Manager window so that the ForkBomb.bat file is visible on the desktop. To execute the ForkBomb.bat file on the desktop, right-click the ForkBomb and select Open. The command prompt opens and the ForkBomb.bat file starts executing recursively. After the bash file execution, observe the CPU usage in Task Manager. In the Task Manager window, under the Performance tab, observe the CPU activity in the left pane. The CPU utilizing went to 100% and the memory consumed went up to 2.9 gigabytes.